team the organizations behind this initiative. This program is a collaborative effort between the Research Foundation of India and RFI-CARE in association with Paro University, Gujarat. It is generously sponsored by Shod Malwa, GHARF, Academic Research Guide Association, and Advocate. Before moving ahead, I would like to acquaint you all with the impressive profile of Dr. Priyanka ma'am. Having amassed 13 years of academic finance experience, she holds both an MBA and a PhD earned in 2015 while continuing postdoctoral studies. Currently positioned as a senior assistant professor at Prestige Institute of Management and Research in Indore, she has previously contributed to the institutions such as Acropolis and Navy College. Her expertise encompasses areas like self-help groups, microfinance, operation research, and financial management. She is known for her dynamic multitasking abilities. She actively organizes workshops, conferences, and faculty development programs. Widely recognized as a valuable resource person, she conducts sessions on ICT tools and research methodology. With a prolific publication record boasting over 30 works, including 2 books with ISBN numbers, she has received numerous accolades winning international case study competitions and earning research excellence awards. She has chaired sessions at international conferences and posed editorial roles for reputable e-journals. Furthermore, her video lectures can be found on YouTube, and her articles are featured in streaming platforms such as Shiksha.com and Free Press newspaper. That's all about the madam's expertise. Now, I request Dr. Priyanka ma'am to please begin her presentation. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Neha ma'am, for this lovely introduction of mine. And first of all, I would like to show my gratitude towards Research Foundation of India, Dr. Saurabh Jain sir, Dr. Ajay Jain sir, and all the associated members who always shows their trust on me, trust towards me, and give me the opportunity. So without wasting much of your time, I'm here and I'm going to present the screen. So the topic that has been allotted to me is based on hypothesis testing, right? What is hypothesis, types of hypothesis, and the testing part. And tomorrow we will discuss about the hands-on session on SPSS, the whatever testing we learned today and how hypothesis to be framed. And today we will learn that. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen first. I hope my voice is audible properly.
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam. Yes, yes.
So, first of all, according to you, what is hypothesis? How will you define hypothesis? What is hypothesis?
Ma'am, hypothesis is a tentative solution to a problem.
Solution, is this a solution?
Tentative solution.
Is this a solution? Hypothesis, solution?
No, it is an assumption.
Assumption, it is not solution. We can say it is an assumption. We are assuming that 60% students pass the exam. We are assuming. If not, if they do not pass the exam, and how we confirm that they do not pass the exam? With the help of hypothesis testing. So we are assuming that 60% pass the exam. If they pass the exam, then we will include these students into some other activities. If these students do not qualify the examination, then we will debar or we will not include all these students in any other activity. So these are the assumptions. Okay, in simple words, we can say it is the assumption only, right? So to prove our assumption, we go for hypothesis testing. And to test the hypothesis, we have different types of tests like parametric test, non-parametric test. Under parametric test, we have different category. Under non-parametric test, we have different category. So when we frame the hypothesis, it should be like when to use the word significance level, when to use the word study, when to use explore, when to use study, when to use observe, when to use variable, relation. So when you frame the hypothesis, it depends which type of test you are going to apply. Okay. Is it clear? So I'm sharing my screen. So this was the crux that I had explained you in short. So what is hypothesis? I'm not reading it from the slide. I'm just giving you the examples so that it will be better to understand. So in simple word, we can say hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is assumption. And to prove the assumption, we go for hypothesis testing. That's why we include less than, more than, greater than, or any numerical value. We have to set the parameter. We have to set some parameter with the help of some numerical value, specific numerical value, to test the hypothesis. Matlab, that means you are comparing some group. If you are comparing some group, that means you go for mean test. I mean parametric test. It may be possible if you show the relationship between the variables, then you go for under parametric test, you go for correlation. If it is non-parametric, then you go for Spearman ranking or chi-square test. Okay, so whatever you have assumed, that will be tested with the help of some statistical tool, whether whatever you have identified, it is the result of experiment. Okay, so hypothesis is nothing, it is just a assumption where you have to prove with the help of some tools, whether it is proved or whether it is not proved. So hypothesis means tentative, thesis means a statement. Statement, it is not solution of problem, it is a statement about the solution of problem. That means you are going to analyze, you are going to, with the help of some statistical tool, you are going to prove it. Whatever you have assumed, you are going to prove it with the help of this statement. You have to frame the statement. Okay, you have to frame the tentative statement. So whosoever gave the answer about it is a solution to the problem, it is not a solution to the problem. You have to frame the statement first to give a solution to the problem, but the solution is but you come to the solution only when it is proved, when your assumption is proved. So that's why we can say hypothesis is verified empirically. That's why we use terms, numerical terms. We have to set some criteria. We have to set some parameter. So it is the statement. It is the statement which shows the relationship between two or more variables. And then whatever statement we frame, we have to prove it with the help of hypothesis testing. So I hope it is clear. Hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
how does hypothesis comes? How the idea of hypothesis comes? So it is conceived by Ronald Fisher, where he narrated the story of the lady. The lady was testing whether the milk was poured into the tea or tea was first poured into the milk. Getting my point? There were 2 cups. She was a little bit confused whether milk was poured into the tea. The tea was ready. The water and the tea was ready, and then we put milk. So whether we have to put milk into the tea or we have to put tea into the milk. So she was a little bit confused. So what she did, she planned to test. She was a little bit confused. So Fisher decided to test. How he had decided to test? He lined up 8 cups. He lined up 8 cups. In 4 cups, in the first 4 cups, the milk was poured into the tea, and another 4 cups, the tea was poured into the milk. Okay. And it was asked later on the random basis, it was asked to taste these cups. You have to identify whether tea was poured into the milk or milk was first poured into the tea. So this was the test experiment. Okay. So after testing, how you test it? With the help of taking sip, taste. You have to taste it. Getting my point? How this is to be tested? This is to be tested with the help of taking a sip. That means we have to taste it. Whether the milk was poured into the tea first or the tea was poured into the milk. So we have to identify. This is a testing. And this testing was based on taste. Okay. So this was the experiment done by Fisher. So that's why we can say that hypothesis is nothing, but it indicates the relationship, tentative relationship between two or more variables. It is a statement. It is conceptual in nature. It has to be tested, verifiable, and accordingly we reject or accept it. Getting my point? It should be general. It should not be too specific. Okay. So I will give you slides. I'm not putting much stress into this slide because it is of no use. The only thing is you have to understand how many types of hypotheses are there and how to frame this hypothesis. There are different types of hypotheses. When we talk about statistical hypothesis, we have null hypothesis because it is in demand. And generally people frame null hypothesis, some frame alternative hypothesis. There are some simple hypotheses, there are some complex hypotheses, directional hypothesis, non-directional hypothesis. There are different types of hypotheses. So when we talk about null hypothesis means which shows no difference. Getting my point? No difference. There is no difference between, there is no significant difference between the two variables. Alternative, which shows some difference. The effect is expected. There is a difference between. Okay. So when we talk about null hypothesis, null means no. The statement starts with no, no difference. There is no effect. There is no relation. When we talk about alternative, it shows there is a effect. There is some difference. So you have to first understand which type of hypothesis we have to frame. Okay. Another one is simple hypothesis. Simple hypothesis means it shows the relationship between single independent variable and dependent variable. That means there are two variables. One is independent, another one is dependent variable. When we talk about teaching pedagogy and students, teaching pedagogy and students achievement. Okay. So there are two variables. When teaching pedagogy applied by this teacher is good, then student may excel, student's skill will increases. Can you say this? So that means there are two variables. One is dependent variable and another one is independent. In this case, independent variable is teaching pedagogy, because whatever teaching pedagogy we are using, some may use ICT, some may use PPT, some may use interactive interactive games, some may use engaging activities. So teaching pedagogy, some may use role play. So teaching pedagogy, whatever teaching pedagogy we are using, students' skills enhance accordingly. So student skills enhancement is based on teaching pedagogy. That's why it is dependent variable. Complex hypothesis, when we talk about complex hypothesis, it shows the relationship between two or more dependent variable. Independent and dependent variable. Dependent and independent variable. Like apart from teaching pedagogy, there were two variables, like teaching pedagogy and student skill, right? So apart from this, we can use other variable. Apart from teaching pedagogy, we can use positive environment. So positive environment as well as teaching pedagogy both plays important role in student skill enhancement. So these two are independent and student skill is dependent variable. When more than two independent or dependent variable will be there, we can call it as a complex hypothesis. Getting my point? Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Moving ahead, then we have directional hypothesis. Directional means researcher is intellectually committed to the particular outcome. That means we know where we have to go. Direction is given. And when no direction is given, where there no sufficient past studies are given to have the proper prediction on the future, that means there is no past studies to give forecasting or to predict future, then it is called non-directional hypothesis. When we have past studies and we know this area is like in AI, when we talk about AI, we do not have sufficient past studies. So we do not know about that. But when we have like UT80 model, when we have knowledge about ICT, UT80 model, that means we know what past studies was based on and accordingly how we have to move. So this is called directional hypothesis. Okay. Now, just a minute. Before that, I'll explain another thing. Let us take one example because I'll give you situation first, then we accordingly frame the hypothesis. But before that, I will tell you the situation first. Are you aware of one tail and two tail? Are you aware of one tail or two tail?
No.
So first I'll have to explain this thing. Okay. I'll give you one situation. Now you have to read this. We have to test whether the population mean would have improved compared to the known mean in the past. We know the value of mean. Population mean is different and statistical mean is different. Population mean is denoted by mu, if you know, and statistical mean is denoted by x bar, right? Although it is just for information, it is not going to affect what we are studying. So we have to understand the situation first. Last year, the performance of student in the school final examination averaged 60 out of 100. The last year performance was like 60% out of 100. The average score of the students was 60 out of 100. Okay. In order to improve the score, the administration had conducted special training program. So what the school has done, they conducted special training program in order to improve the score of the students this year. Now administration wants to know whether the average would have changed from 60. Last time, the average score obtained by the students was 60. Getting my point? Getting my point? Hello?
No, ma'am.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you
Yes,
repeat
ma'am.
it?
Yes.
Please read this. This was the situation. According to the situation, I will make you understand whether how to go for one tail what is one-tailed t-test and what is two-tailed test. Okay. So you have to understand the situation first. Read this in short. I am going to tell you the school administration on the basis of past data, the average score obtained by the students was 60 out of 100. Okay, 60% scored well. 60% students passed the examination. Okay. Now, what administration has decided? Now they are conducting special training program for the students. On the basis of this special training program, they want to know whether the score will be more than 60 or less than 60. If it is more than 60, that means the performance of the students increases. If it is less than 60, that means performances decreases. Or it may be possible the score may remain same. Getting my point now?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was the situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Now to test this, the district administration. Now, how to test this when we go for testing purpose? That means we have to collect data. We have to collect some samples. So they collected some sample of 51 students. Okay. I hope the situation is clear. Now, when we go for this testing, we can go for null hypothesis. Getting my point? We can go for null hypothesis. How we are going to prepare, how we are going to frame null hypothesis. Null hypothesis, as I told you earlier, as I explained you, null hypothesis, when we frame null hypothesis, it shows there is no change. We cannot expect change. So that's why we use the word no. There is no significant difference. There is no effect. Getting my point? So when we frame this hypothesis, null hypothesis, now can you try to frame null hypothesis? Okay, what do you understand by this situation? When you read this, what is the situation first? Did you understand the situation? Did you understand the situation? Hello. I'm waiting for your response. Or you can type it in the chat box. Sorry? Your voice is not audible properly. Anuradha ji, I have explained 2 times. Sorry, this time I'm not going to explain. Now you have to understand this by yourself because situation is in front of you. Okay. The situation is here. Please read it, and now I want you to explain it. This is simple language. This is simple English. I want. Can any one of you give the gist of the situation? Can anybody of you give the gist of the situation? What is the situation all about? Can you please mute yourself because it is disturbing if you are not going to answer. So I'm going to explain this. So when we talk about the situation says that earlier the performance of a student says that 60% out of 100 qualified the examination with good marks. That means average students was the final score of student in final examination was 60% out of 100. Now, when special training program was conducted, management wants to know whether the 60%, the performance of the students were only 60%, right? Remaining 40% failed examination. Okay, so 60% was earlier performance of the student. Now, when special training program was conducted with new students, now they want more than 60% qualified examination. So that's why special training program was conducted. So now management wants to know if special training program was conducted, whether it brings change in the performance of student or not. If it brings change, how it may bring change in two ways. Either they score well, like more than 60%, or it decreases their performance. Training program does not improve the performance of the student. This may be situation. Na? How many situations we can create? There may be 3 situations. First situation is the training program conducted may increase the performance of student, right? The second one is the training program conducted may decrease the performance of the student. Third one is the training program conducted may does not affect the performance of the student. This 3 situation may create. Getting my point now?
Yes, madam.
The 3 situation will be created.
Okay.
Out of this, when we talk about first 2 situations, it may change. It may increase or decrease, right? So this is called
Positive and negative impact.
Yes, this is called positive and negative, and this is called one tail test. Either we go for increasing the performance, either we go for decreasing the performance. And when there is no change, when it may be possible there is no change, so this is null hypothesis.
Null,
So
null
first, what we
hypothesis.
have to do, see, it may be positive effect, it may negative effect. Okay, there is no upward change in the performance, there is upward change in the performance. If there is no upward change in performance, that means mu is smaller than 60. Getting my point?
Yes. Okay.
Mu may be greater than 60. This brings upward change in the performance.
Yes.
So now what you have to do, see, as I told you, one tail test talks about upward change and downward change. In simple word, we can go like this. The criteria was 60, right? The criteria was 60.
Yes.
Whether it is more than 60, after training program, it may be possible that students' score may increases. So we can say it may be more than 60, or we can say it may be less than 60 after training program. This 2 situation may arise. Getting my point? When this 2 situation arises, it is called one tail test. Okay? One tail test. Either it is in the increasing form, either it may be in the decreasing form. And when we talk about no change,
Equal to 0.
yes.
No change.
If we talk about no change in the performance,
Null.
that is called 2 tail test.
That is null hypothesis.
Null hypothesis.
Null hypothesis
Two
or
tail
equal to 0.
Two tail test means it may be equal to 60, right? Or no change in the performance. Getting my point?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So this is called one tail or 2 test. This is written in this form. And simple words I have mentioned in this way so that you can be able to understand. Getting? So did you get the difference between one tail and two test? So now, again, I will give you one situation. This was the situation, na? This was the situation. Now, we will calculate this with the help of statistical tool. Okay. So how this is to be performed manually. So how many and samples were there? Management has collected data from 51 students just to know whether the performance is changed or not. Getting my point now? So are you able to frame the hypothesis? Will you be able to frame null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis on the basis of the situations? Now, what are the assumptions you can take? Can you frame this?
Okay, yes, we may.
Try to frame the hypothesis, try to frame.
Positive and negative?
No, only null hypothesis. On the basis of this, are you able to frame the hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternative? Null means
Yes, ma'am.
Or
There is
null
no
hypothesis.
change in the
It
average
will
of
be
the
equal to
student.
51.
there is no change. Hypothesis.
Yes, ma'am.
See, as I told you, there are two situations. Two situation means more than 60 marks can be expected from the student and less than 60 marks can be expected from the student. It is the part of one tail test. If there is no change or it is equal to 60, that means it is the part of two tail. So when we go for null hypothesis, when we are going to frame null hypothesis, it starts with no. That means we
Yes,
are
ma'am.
predicting that there will be no change. So
There
there
is
will be
no change.
there is no change
It remains 60 only.
in the performance.
Of the students.
Very good. This is the null hypothesis. There is no significant change. There is no change in the performance of students with respect to scores, marks. Okay? After conducting training program. Okay? We are talking about training program, na? That's why I'm using this. This is null hypothesis. Alternative, what will be the alternative hypothesis?
Ma'am, there will be significant change.
That means there will be a significant change in the performance students after conducting the training program. Getting my point?
Yes, which may be up to around 60 or below.
Getting my point? So this
Yes.
maybe
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can frame the hypothesis in this way. Another way of framing the hypothesis is no change in performance. That's why we are using mu is equal to 60. So whatever answer is, whatever result will be there, the mu is equal to 60. Getting my point? That's why it is written mu is equal to 60 at 0. When we talk about null hypothesis, we are denoted it with the help of at 0. So here null hypothesis say mu is equal to 60. When we talk about hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, mu is not equal to 60. That means there is change in performance. It may increase, it may go upward direction, it may go in downward direction. So when it is not equal to 60, that means it may change either in upward direction and downward direction. So that's why it is called alternative hypothesis. Getting my point? So this is another way of writing. So instead of this, I can use this mu equals to instead of this, I can use mu equals to 60, and in alternative we can use mu is not equal to 60. Getting my point? So in this way we have framed the hypothesis. Okay. Now after framing, our motive is to test. Now how to test it? We are going to manual testing right now, because in SPSS you are going to test tomorrow. So we understand, just to understand the situation, what we have to do, we have to understand the basic first. So Up till now, is there any problem? Up till now, in framing the hypothesis, is there any problem?
Ma'am, I have one doubt.
So mu equals to 60, we can mention it in this way, and here
Ma'am.
we can say mu is not equal to 60. Yes.
Ma'am, actually, in case of extraneous variable, what we should have to do in hypothesis, like you have said that dependent variable and independent variable, and third one is extraneous variable. So in case of extraneous
Extraneous
variable,
means extra variable are there, as the name itself is has the meaning, and there are various variables are there. You can call control variable, we have extraneous variable, we have mediating, moderating, all this type of variable. Extra means extra. Apart from this, there are some extra variables that may affect the dependent variable. Now you have to choose according to situation. Okay, so as I told you, when there are more than two variables, dependent variable, independent variable, it is a complex hypothesis. And then under main hypothesis, you can frame sub-hypothesis. And then slowly and slowly you can test the same. Hello.
yes, ma'am.
So when we talk about this framing hypothesis, after framing the hypothesis, what we have to do? We have to manually go for testing. So you have to understand what was the sample size in the question. It was collected from 51 students. The data was collected from the 51 students. That's why n was 51. Okay. Now, when we talk about degree of freedom means
Choice to us.
sorry.
Choice to us. Choice to us.
Okay. Yes. So how many choices were left? I will explain you with the help of example. Suppose if you have 7 glasses. If you have 7 glasses, goggles, okay, of different colors, and you wear it for 7 days, Monday to Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. And if you are using the first on Monday, I'll go for this. यहाँ पे बोलता है ना. Suppose if you have 7 different colors of glasses and you have to wear it for 7 days. Suppose we have black color of goggles. One is black color. One is of brown color. One is of pink color. We have 7 different colors of glasses: white, silver, blue. These are 5, 6, and 7. Gold. Okay. Suppose we have 7 different colors of glasses, goggles, and we have to wear it for all 7 days. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I will delete this. We have 6 days. Working days are 6 now, so that's why I'm using 6 days. So suppose you have 6 working days and you have 6 sunglasses of different colors. So on Monday, if you are using black color, okay. Now, what are the various choices for different days? On Tuesday, we have choices of 5. We have
Remaining
5
five.
choices. Getting my point?
Yes.
So this is the choice. If Tuesday, if you are using pink color, if Tuesday you are using pink color, how many choices are left? 1, 2, 3, 4 choices are left for different days. So that means the difference is lesser than 1. So that's the reason we are going for, when we go for degree of freedom, we deduct 1. When we go for degree of freedom, that's the reason we deduct 1 from n. So here in our case, degree of freedom is n minus 1. So what is n? What is n? 51. Number was 51 minus 1. That is, we have 50 choices. Okay, we are free to use. Now, another thing that we have to understand is what should be the critical value in critical region. Generally, when we go for social sciences, we go for 5% significance level. 5% significance, when I say this 5% significance level, 5% significance level means we are confident. We are confident, 95% we are confident that this work will be completed. Only 5% is there is a chance there may be an error. Getting my point? If I take 5% significance level, 5% means 100 minus 5. That is 95% I am confident that this work will be completed. That there is a chance of success. Only 5% error by mistake, by chance, we do not going to accomplish that particular work. So when we go for social science, we assume that the error may be of 5%. The failure chance of failure will be 5%. So in simple word down, 5% means 0.5. Sorry, 0.05. Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
5% means in decimal form it is 0.05. Now another thing that we have to understand is critical region here. Now, again you have to understand this is the critical region. Critical region means in our case, how many students were there? We collected data from 51 sample, right? Passing the examination, what was the final exam score? We are working with 60%, na? We are working with 60%. Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
We are working with 60%. So if this is the positive way, this is negative way, this is 60, our mean was 60. Now we have to check whether the student's marks increases or decreases. If it increases, suppose if we get 63, 65 or 70, suppose if we get 70, it will appear over here because it is more than 60. And if it comes to 50, that means it will lie in this area. 50 means behind 60. Okay. So if the student gets 70 marks or obtain 70%, that means it is above 60. So that will be appear in this region, positive side. And if he gets less than 60, then it will be appear in the negative side. So if we get 70%, that means this is the rejection level. This is the rejection level, and this is acceptance level. If we talk about 50, then this would be the rejection level. This is called two tail. That's why it is called two tail. Here we can see this. The same is applied over here. So the rejection of hypothesis lies over here. The rejection of hypothesis lies over here. Okay. And here alternative means we fail to reject. That means this is the acceptance level. This particular part is acceptance level. If our value lie in this area. Now we will calculate. What we have to do? What is the sample mean? Suppose we take sample mean as 63. Okay. Instead of 70, we take 63. Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
If the sample mean, how we get the sample mean? You have to go for data. For 51 students, we have to calculate how much students obtain the mark. So what you have to do? You have to first identify the mean with the help of sigma x upon n. So in this way, you identify the mean of 51 students, that is 63. Okay, this is the tentative figure I have taken. Standard deviation with the help of formula summation x upon n minus summation x upon n the whole square in the rule. With the help of this formula, we obtain value 6.7. Standard deviation means the range which vary. The consistency or spreadness it is giving, how much risky the situation is or how much it is deviated from the mean. The value, how much the value obtained is deviated from the mean. It is 6.7. Now we have to identify standard error. Standard error means S by N. S means this is standard deviation upon N. So this is the value of standard error. Why I am going to explain this? Because when you go for manual calculation, you have to understand this, how this value falls. So the value of T, if you know the formula of T value is summation x, mean minus mu upon SD. This is the formula of T. You will come to know about SPSS tomorrow. So in SPSS, we can, in one click, we can get the result. But you have to understand how this hypothesis to be framed and where this value lies. So that's the reason I'm going to explain this. I'm explaining this. So the main value is T. You have to identify T. The formula of T is mean minus mu upon SD. So mean taken was, the sample calculated was, sample mean was 63. Mu means the population mean, that was 60. And SD was 6.7. So when we applied this, we got the result as one. The value of T is 3.189. Getting my point? Now, where this value falls 3.189? Just a minute. The value of T was 3.189. Okay. When you go for 3.189, now you have to check this in the T table. You have to check this in T table. Value of T table under 5% significance level. I'm going to open this. The value of T, this is the T value, yes. This is the value of T. Now you have to check in 0.05, 5% significance level. Okay. What was the value? We have to check that. The value was 3.189. 3.189, right? 3. This is 3. Degree of freedom. It is not a proper T table. Normal distribution table. ये नहीं है, ये नहीं है। Standard. Standard normal distribution table. Hmm. 3.189 na? Now, this is good. Now you have to search the value of 3.189. So here it was the value was 3.189. Can you get? Are you getting this 3.189? So how to check this in the table? So 3, you have to identify 3. Where is 3? This is 3. 0.18. 3.18. So this is 3. So 3.18. Yeah, now you have to identify 3.18. 3.1. This is 3.1. So 3.1. And next is 3.189. So that means 3.1. You can round off 3.19. Ninth value. You have to search in this last column 3.19. So what is the value? 3.1 and the last 0.99929. Getting my point? 0.99929. So here comes the value 0.99929. So now we have to check this. Getting my point? How to check this? Getting my point? How to check this? Hello. Is my voice audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
It is
Yes, ma'am.
audible. Manaji, it is audible. Please check the connection at your end. So similarly, what we have to do, we have to check in degree of freedom. Now, the second thing is, what we have to do, the value was 3.189. No? Make the spaces. Now getting point. Standard table नहीं है कैसे? स्टैंडर्ड टेबल मिल जाए तो और क्लियर हो जाएगा. So when we go for this 3.189, so 3.1 का 9. Now the value is 0.4993. Actually, there are different tables, so that's why the value vary. So you have to go for standard normal distribution table. Okay, standard normal distribution table, you have to take it. And you have to check this in 5% significance level. When you check this 5% significance level, then the value would be different. Now the value, what will be the value? It is written over here. The value is 2.31. Now you tell me where this 2.31 falls. If we talk about 2.31, this is -2, this is +2. Where this 2.31 falls? 2.31. 2.31
Right
falls
hand side of
Is it level, ma'am?
here. 2.31 will fall over here.
That.
yes, right hand side of the plot.
So that means this is the
Correct.
rejected area, and when it falls over here, this is the accepted area. And the same thing will be applied over here when you go for SPSS. Okay. Now, now this is the most important thing, because you have to understand what is the appropriate test, which is the appropriate test. So this is the main point to understand. When we talk about univariate data means we are talking about single data. Single data means single variable. Only one variable will be there. Since there will be one variable, that's why we go for descriptive statistic. And under descriptive statistic, we can directly apply and show with the help of frequency, distribution, pie chart. We can show with the help of bar chart, and simple mean median mode can be calculated, or percentage analysis will be done under descriptive statistics. Okay, like when we talk about gender, male, female, so we can show it in the form of pie chart or bar chart, and we can calculate with the help of percentage, or we can find out mean. But when we go for inferential statistics, that means we have to show with the help of hypothesis. We have to test the hypothesis. Okay, when we go for inferential statistics, we have to test the hypothesis. So that's the reason we can go for either parametric test or non-parametric test. I hope you know the meaning and you understand what is parametric and non-parametric test. Are you aware of parametric and non-parametric?
Yes, ma'am.
Parametric test means give some number.
Numbers are there in both the test, either it is parametric or non-parametric. When we talk about parametric,
Ma'am,
it shows the mean value. And when we talk about non-parametric, it shows the median value. Another difference is parametric. When we talk about parametrics, the test of normality test. There is one normality test which is tested with the help of colmograph or KS or some statistical or graphical test is to be proved. Normality test is to be proved. But when normality test is not proved, then we go to non-parametric. Another difference between parametric and non-parametric test is, are you aware of the variable, the data that we take, that means categorical data, metric data, non-metric data, or scale data? Are you aware of this? When the data is categorical in data, when the data collected is categorical form, that means it is non-metric data. It is not in the scale form. Scale form means when we use Likert scale, 5 points Likert scale, 7-point Likert scale, it is called scale data. Okay. When we use scale data, that means we have to go for parametric test. And when we do not use this scale data, when we use only non-metric or categorical data like gender, male, female, this is category. Occupation, housewife, businessman, service sector, this is category. So when we use this category type of data, when we go for non-parametric test. Okay. So that's why I've written over here. When we go for parametric test, scale data should be there. When we go for non-parametric test, either we go for ordinal data or categorical data. When parametric test is applied for one univariate variable, then one t-test should be applied, and for non-parametric, only one variable is there, then chi-square should be applied. Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So this, you can take the picture and I will explain this. When we use bivariate data, bivariate means use of two variables. Now there is no scope of descriptive statistic. Here we have to test the hypothesis. There are two variables. We have to test the hypothesis. Either we go for hypothesis of difference, there is no significant difference, or we go for test of association. There is relation between two variables. When we go for difference, that means we are comparing mean. So when we go for parametric test, again, it is divided into two parts. When we go for hypothesis of difference, we have two tests, parametric and non-parametric. Under parametric, we can either apply two sample test or pair t-test. In non-parametric, we can apply Mann-Whitney U-test or Wilcoxon-Frank test. When we talk about hypothesis of association, since we have two variables, when we talk about relationship between the two variables, so association, when we talk about hypothesis of association, again we have two categories. When we talk about association between variable or causal relation. If there is association, under association, we have parametric. Parametric test applied is correlation, and non-parametric, it is applied chi-square. For causal relationship, causal relationship, cause and effect. When we talk about causal relationship, again we have parametric and non-parametric. Under parametric, we go for regression, and under non-parametric, we go for square one ranking. So whatever hypothesis you are framing with the help of association or difference, the framing should be according to that. Like when we design null hypothesis, there is no significant difference between teaching pedagogy and skill enhancement of the student. When we go for relationship, there is no significant relation between the skill enhancement and teaching pedagogy used by the teachers. So in this way, we can frame the hypothesis, and accordingly, we have to test it. So this is the base for tomorrow. All the things will be applied in cases tomorrow. Now, do you have any query? If you have any query, then please ask your questions right now. Let me come to the screen first. Yes. Getting my point, whatever I have explained to you.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, suppose I go to some area where its population is unknown. So I will apply non-parametric test. So how much sample of population would I have to consider for that purpose? If population is unknown for me?
So you can go for non-parametric test also. And but you have to test it. If it is possible, then you can convert the data into scale data, or you can go for normality test. If it is possible, convert if your normality test is satisfied, then go for parameter. Only when if your normality test is satisfied. If it is not satisfied, then you can go for non-parametric. And it is
Yes,
better if you go for chi-square. May I know the background behind your hypothesis, whatever you have framed?
Ma'am, actually, I am working in open cast coal mining area of Singoli district of UP. In that, I have not received any population data from the census of census of India. And
Cracking, so please repeat it.
मैम एक्चुअली मैं सिंगरौली डिस्ट्रिक्ट के ऊपर ओपन कास्ट माइनिंग पे काम कर रहा हूँ तो वहाँ पे क्या है तो मैम वहाँ पे क्या है कि सेंसस ऑफ डेटा के अंदर कुछ पॉपुलेशन मेंशन नहीं है वहाँ पे सेकेंडरी सोर्स ऑफ डेटा तो वहाँ के लिए मैम मुझे पॉपुलेशन ऑफ डेटा लेना पड़ेगा तो फिर उसके लिए तो मैम नॉन प्रोबेबिलिटी सैंपलिंग सही रहेगा क्योंकि पॉपुलेशन नोन है मैम वहाँ की और सेंसस ऑफ डेटा के अंदर मेंशन भी नहीं है मैम तो उसके रिगार्डिंग मैंने आपसे पूछा कि नॉन पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट में सैंपल कैसे डिसाइड करेंगे हम लोग कितने साइज ऑफ सैंपल लेना है अगर अननोन है तो जैसे कन्वीनियंस सैंपल लगाएंगे अपन तो कन्वीनियंस सैंपलिंग में कितने पॉपुलेशन मिलेगा
अगर वो पहले तो आप ये बताइए सैंपलिंग टेक्निक कौन सी यूज कर रहे हैं
मैम जैसे नॉन प्रोबेबिलिटी सैंपलिंग लगेगी वहाँ पे कन्वीनियंस सैंपलिंग जो होती है मैम
वैसे देखा जाए ना तो अगर आप एक्चुअली वो करना चाहते हैं तो इन गुड जनरली नॉन पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट इज अवॉइडेड दे जनरली डू नॉट प्रेफर नॉन पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट के ऊपर काम करेंगे तो ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा
यस मैम
तो उसको वैसा कुछ कीजिए कि अपन स्नोबॉल सैम्पलिंग के थ्रू अपन नहीं स्नोबॉल तो नहीं आएगी इसमें आप उसको क्लस्टर सैम्पलिंग के थ्रू या अपन स्ट्रैटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग के थ्रू अपन उसको डेटा को कलेक्ट कर पाए
यस मैम
ठीक है
यस मैम
एनी अदर क्वेश्चन
नो मैम
Any other query, participants? No. Research question is whatever. Research question अलग है, hypothesis अलग है. Research questions means what is in your mind, what is there in your research, what is expected from your research. तुम क्या क्या find out करोगे research से. अकॉर्डिंगली जब रिसर्च क्वेश्चन आएंगे उसको तुम सॉल्व कैसे करोगे तो हाइपोथेसिस तुम्हारे दिमाग में आएंगे कि असम्पशन है ये दीज आर द असम्पशंस एंड लाइक आई गिव द एग्जांपल ऑफ टीचिंग पेडागोजी एंड स्किल एनहांसमेंट so the research question is are if we change the teaching pedagogy are the is it possible for the students to enhance their skills? This is a research question. With the help of this study, we can come to know that student actually enhance their skills or not when we go for teaching pedagogy. This is a research question. Okay. Getting my point? Research question. Now, उसके लिए आपने hypothesis frame करे तो hypothesis कैसे frame करोगे या तो complex या तो null hypothesis या alternative hypothesis as per your structure. ठीक है अगर STEM यूज करना है तो alternative hypothesis आप करोगे अगर आपको STEM यूज नहीं करना सिंपल SPSS में जाना है EFA वगैरह करना है या फिर T test Z test करना है पैरामीट्रिक नॉन पैरामीट्रिक तो आप जो हो null hypothesis यूज करोगे तो अब null hypothesis कैसे यूज करेंगे there is no significant difference between teaching pedagogy and स्किल एनहांसमेंट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट अब इसमें भी अलग अलग है अगर मीन से कर रहे हो तो ये हाइपोथेसिस बनेगी अगर आपको कोरिलेशन निकालना हो या फिर काय स्क्वायर जाना हो या स्पेयरमैन रैंकिंग करना हो तो फिर इसके सिग्निफिकेंस की जगह दूसरा वर्ड आएगा देयर इज नो रिलेशन या देयर इज नो एसोसिएशन बिटवीन स्किल एनहांसमेंट एंड टीचिंग पेडागोजी ऑफ द स्टूडेंट ठीक है तो रिसर्च क्वेश्चन का भी मैंने एग्जांपल दे दिया है एंड हाइपोथेसिस का भी मैंने एग्जांपल दे दिया है डिफरेंट डिफरेंट टाइप्स के I hope I have answered your question. Gurish Rabaji, I believe that I have answered your question. Vanna ji. Okay. Madam, can you please share me previous class? Sorry, I'm not getting your point. Vanna ji. Any other query, or you can type in the chat box and or you can raise your hand so that I can see how many of you want to ask the question. Do you want to ask anything? Yuri Shravaji? Anything that you want to ask and you are not able to answer, then you can type it in the chat box. Okay, thank you.
मैम एक क्वेश्चन और था आपसे,
जी,
जैसे मैम मान लीजिए कि कहीं की पॉपुलेशन 1 लाख है,
हाँ,
तो वहाँ का जैसे पॉपुलेशन डिसाइड करते हैं अपन कितना सैंपल लेना चाहिए अपने को, तो उसका कुछ फिक्स क्राइटेरिया है क्या मैम? कोई क्राइटेरिया है कि किस बेसिस पे लिया
सैंपल का उसका कोई फिक्स क्राइटेरिया नहीं है, पर हाँ अगर हम बुक्स वगैरह देखें तो कम से कम मिनिमम जो है हमारे पास 400 होने चाहिए। मिनिमम सैंपल साइज हमारे पास 400 होने चाहिए।
Yes, ma'am.
381 बोलते हैं वैसे, 381 होना चाहिए, लेकिन मैंने आपको 400 बोला फिगर,
Yes,
क्योंकि
ma'am.
वो पॉपुलेशन जो है हमारी जब 3 लाख या 5 लाख होती है या 8 लाख होती है तो उसके ऊपर सैंपल जो है वो 381 या 400 का आता है।
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है, तो मैक्सिमम यू टेक द मोर सैंपल साइज यू टेक द आंसर, मतलब द रिजल्ट विल बी मोर एक्यूरेट। ओके, बट 500 is enough, 300, 400, 500 is enough. There are people who take data from 1500 people, but we cannot sure कि 1500 से हमको exact figure मिलेगा, because getting data from 1500 people will be the time consuming task and there may be a possibility of biasness. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So the session is over from my side. If there is still any query, then you can ask or you can type it in the chat box. I have answered all the questions of your chat box.
Yes, participant, do you have any other questions?
So you can, I think YouTube link will be available and you can go through the YouTube channel so that you can check the video one more time. Okay. So I hope I have answered and I think there is no more question left, right? Can we wind up?
Thank
Okay,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
the interactive, for making the class interactive one, and thank you for asking questions. This shows the active participation from your side. So thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Priyanka ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
So can we wind up the
Thank
session,
you.
Neha ma'am?
Yes. Thank you so much, Priyanka ma'am. So it's time to continue this insightful session.
I hope you all enjoyed the session and will be able to learn new things regarding this. So can we formally wind up the session, ma'am?
Yeah.
So thank you.
We will try to conclude this insightful session, but before that, we want to express our sense of appreciation to every participant for their active involvement. On behalf of Dr. Rashida, it is extended to our student speaker, Dr. Priyanka ma'am, for her purposeful sharing her invaluable time and insights with us. Additionally, we extend our sincere gratitude to the organizing committee and the sponsors for their unwavering support in making this publicly possible. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.